Jono, our weekly catch-up, coming off the back of a truly phenomenal result against Nottinghamshire. There's a lot of people saying the rain played a big hand in that. Undoubtedly it did, but I think we earned the right to get a draw out of that by the performance we put in with the bat. What's your take on it?
I thought we were a bit off the pace all game. We pride ourselves on how we start with the ball, especially. We won a good toss here at Lords. Wasn't a wicket where you felt you were going to skittle anyone, but certainly a wicket we felt we could maybe get them out for sort of the 250 to 300 mark, and we just didn't quite hit the standards that we would normally hit early on. Mertz coming back from injury, didn't quite get there. Bams, we were a bit off the pace. Tobes bowled exceptionally well that morning and showed what we could get out of that wicket. So we let them off, and then once we let them off early, 100 for 1 at lunch was always going to be tough coming back from there. So we battled hard, but we'd given them too much of a lead and too much of a run on that, I would say.
Yeah.
And then when we came to bat, obviously their seam attack is one of the best out there. They put us under enormous pressure the whole time, and we again just went away from the stuff that we pride ourselves on. We weren't as resilient as we have been in previous games, but on top of that, this is the best attack that we'll face all year. So there's a bit of a balance between the two there. And then we then obviously second innings we batted. Well, they batted again, obviously, went on for 1. I thought we bowled beautifully that morning, bowled really, really well, which forced them to really put the foot on the gas to get that declaration. And then quite often what happens in these games, you do lose a couple of early ones with their quality seam attack again. And then we really dug in really well, I thought. Robbo and Max were brilliant. We came into this last day still feeling that we could save the game.
Yep.
Everyone was switched on to do that, and the start that Robbo and Max gave us I thought was brilliant. Two very contrasting different styles of batting out a draw. One in his bubble still playing his shots but being circumspect about it, and the other one just over my dead body, I'm not getting out. And we truly feel that if the rain hadn't come, we'd have batted that day out. Can't prove it, can't show it, but that's the feeling amongst the group. So yeah, look, not a great performance by us, but we've come out of it with a hard-fought draw, and we move on from it.
I suppose the important thing is, John, you look at that as a result, and yeah, you're right, we've underperformed. I interviewed Ethan after day one. He was disappointed with his own performance. Yeah. Rojo was outstanding on day one, as you say, and outstanding on day two, and he got all the rewards on day two that he probably should have earned on day one for how he bowled. We've underperformed, yes, but ultimately you get to the end of the season, you'll look back on this game and you'll go, yeah, we fought hard enough to get a draw there. You're right, this is the best side we'll face. We've got another tough side this week in Durham, who many people are saying are probably up there alongside Notts as the favourites for the Division 2 title. How's the prep gone this week in training?
Yeah, very well. I think you're right for once. Notts and Durham were always going to be the two toughest games, I would think, of the year. Doesn't mean to say other games aren't going to be tough, but in terms of strength of team, I think they're the strongest teams. We spoke about at the end of the game about if we have any ambition of being a first division side, which obviously everyone we do. You're coming up against that week in, week out. You're coming up against quality bowling, very good batting week in, week out, and you have to do your basics, do the stuff we talk about, our identity, you have to do for longer. And in first division cricket, international cricket, you can't have bad sessions, bad days, because teams jump on you.
Yeah.
You can get away with that quite often in second division cricket, but you don't get away with that in first division cricket, and that really showed us this week that from literally the first 2 hours we were behind the game.
Yeah.
And you have to work hard to even get a draw out of it, which we did. And it'll be similar this week. Durham, as you said, are a good side, and it'll be tough work.
Jono, I know you put in a huge amount of work as a unit over the winter on batting and the approach to the game, and you've talked before about your ethos and your style of play and the way you want to go about it. All that seems to have come to the fore. We're going into our 6th championship game, game 9, when we include pre-season.
Pre-season, right? They're just games.
When we include the season. We're going into game 9 unbeaten. a lot is going right on the park. What do you put that down to? Because I look at that Hove game against Sussex, and I think I'm fair in saying the Middlesex side of last year probably wouldn't have batted out for a win, let alone a draw. Against Notts this week, the Middlesex side of last year, I don't think would have showed that resilience. What's the difference? What have you brought to this group that's given them that resolve and stability and solidity?
It's difficult to say any specific thing. All I can say is from my point of view, I had a good chance to look at Middlesex obviously from afar when I was at Surrey for the last 3 years, and I always thought, you know, and I talk about this word identity, but what's the identity of the team in red ball cricket and white ball cricket? Quite often you come up against teams, you go, you know what you're going to face, you know what you're going to get. You know, when we faced Notts, we knew what we were going to get. They're attacking batters. You know, they've got some aggression with their bowling, but they don't give you anything. You know, you sort of know what you're going to get. And what we've tried to do here is create that identity for us. What are we as a team? What do we want to? How do we want to play our cricket for a start? And if you were sat in the stand and you don't know us, what would your opinion of us be? You know, it's that sort of identity, and I think that's given the players something to really focus on. It's what we talk about all the time. We judge ourselves on that. Doesn't mean to say we're not going to play some loose shots or not bowl well, as we've seen, but we always go back to that identity, and I think that's played quite an integral part. I think this winter the boys worked incredibly hard indoors. We were very aware of our record at Lords, and some of the wickets have been quite sporting, and we needed to cope with that better. And I think it's just a combination of lots of different things that the boys now, after a couple of games, have got a bit of confidence. They know what they're doing is the right sort of stuff that they're working on, and that breeds more confidence. And so you sort of coming out with those draws like last week, add to that confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to pick fault in our bowling unit over the last couple of years because we've always been blessed with a huge number of great seamers, both young and old, from Mertz and Toby down to the youngsters coming through, the likes of Blake, the way Ethan's come on. So bowling wise, I guess you probably had less to focus on. Obviously that's your area of specialism as a quick yourself in the past. The batting unit is where I've seen the most improvement. You look at Robbo's averaging 65 almost, Martin Anderson averaging 45, Max Holden averaging 53, but you've got others coming in. Luke Holman, when given the opportunity, Luke's come in, he's averaging in the 40s. You've got real support from youngsters and more senior pros. That was one thing Stuart called for last year, was those senior pros to step up. You've really got them doing that this year.
Yeah, again, I think if you look at the coaches we have here at the moment, Rory has obviously seen these guys, most of the younger guys all the way through the academy, knows their games inside out. Ramps has been here in the past as a batting coach, knows the likes of Robbo's games inside out. I've been a part of all their careers here over the last sort of 10-12 years. Robbo started off as a second team boy back when I was coach in the second team. So, you know, we've seen them all, so we do know their games. We know the little the small bits that make a difference, the balance areas or their you know, the way they press or whatever it is. We sort of understand them as batsmen and cricketers, so we've just gone back to that, really, coaching them their simple stuff that they know that works, and we know we've seen works. So it's been keeping it very simple with those guys. But obviously now, because we trained, I think, really tough pre-season in that marquee, and I know I've gone on about it quite a lot, but because they trained that hard, I think what they're finding out here was actually you know, a bit easier almost. You know?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Train hard, play easy, as they say.
Makes a lot of sense. This is our final championship game before we head into a bit of white ball stuff. Yesterday we announced the appointment of O.A. Shah, who back in the day was an absolute legend. He trailblazed the way that Middlesex played T20 cricket back in the day, played a massive hand in Middlesex winning the title in 2008. O.A. will obviously come in, you mentioned Ramps, O.A. will come in and work alongside Ramps with the younger players on the white ball specialist skills. What are your thoughts and hopes going into that phase of the season?
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, T20, everybody wants to be a part of that. You know, who wouldn't want to be playing at Lords in front of 30,000 people? You know, it's an amazing spectacle, and everyone's fighting to get in that team. T20 always brings its own problems in terms of training for it. You know, we finish here on Sunday, we've got 3 days before the first T20 game,
Yeah.
so we've already been doing our planning, getting our talks in with the players. We've been doing a little bit of white ball stuff when we can, in between doing our red ball stuff. The guys that haven't been playing the red ball have been doing a lot more training with the white ball. So it's all coming together, and we go into that in a similar vein. We know we've struggled over the last 10 years, 15 years maybe, in white ball cricket, and we've been probably a bit too dominant red ball wise in our squad. But we've got to find a way. It's their excuses to say that we're not, we haven't got enough white ball players. We've got to find a way of competing, and that's what we'll be doing. We're doing the same as our red ball. We've got an identity that we want to play to, a way we want to play, and as I said, it might not work every time, might not get us wins every time, but it's something that over the course of this year and next year and the year after, we're really going to be working towards it and get better at it. So as I said, everyone's really excited to think about and start playing out here again.
Good to hear. I look forward to seeing how that manifests itself on the park. So one last one just on the Durham game, which we kick off with tomorrow. You've named your squad. A little early for Helmy to come back, so I think Tom's targeting the start of Blast for his return. A little early for Esky as well. I know he's playing some 2 stuff, recovering from that broken thumb, but he's not included in the squad. So you've gone with an unchanged squad.
Unchanged squad. Esky's knocking on my door telling me he wants to play, which is great. I think Josh had an opportunity at the start of the year and took it, and it got left out because Robbo came back in. He's had an opportunity again last game, and I want to give him an opportunity. So he's got another, obviously playing again tomorrow. And Esky, we're just going to get ready for the T20. Let him focus on that and practice that and get ready for that for Thursday.
Outstanding. Well, Jono, all the very best luck over the next 4 days. Thanks as always for joining me. It's always a pleasure. Who knows where we'll be next week, but I very much look forward to it.